have never been in one, but I think if you crawled around in the crawl space, you might find a little tunnel out into the yard.
And so it's like a bomb shelter sort of thing for the Cold War.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't want to get blowed up.
You don't want to get blowed up.
Welcome to ATL All Things Local, the podcast where two Atlanta natives take a deep dive into the heart of Atlanta communities and neighborhoods. I'm Adam Mincy, your go-to Atlanta realtor.
And I'm Jeff Goddard, your trusted lender. Together, we're here to give you the inside scoop on areas in ATL, from their rich histories to their contemporary amenities.
So sit back and relax while we explore all that Atlanta has to offer.
Welcome, everybody, to ATL All Things Local, where we talk about Atlanta. And today, our episode, we're going to talk about a very special neighborhood. It's one where Mency lives. Mency, tell us about where you live.
Yeah, Medlock Park, right outside Decatur. North Decatur, to be exact, kind of in between North Decatur Road and North Druid Hills. 10 minutes outside of city of Decatur. And I know you grew up in North Decatur as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I did. Not far from Medlock Park. I have a lot of family friends in Medlock Park and a lot of good times there, riding bikes on the trail system and all that kind of stuff. And I loved selling real estate there because it was like shooting fish in a barrel, because this neighborhood, it's unincorporated DeKalb. The taxes are low. The prices were great. There are a ton of homes there. Mm-hmm. And you can get to downtown Decatur, downtown Atlanta, Emory, CDC, all these places without getting on a freeway in Metro Atlanta was really impressive. And I guess the cat's out of the bag now.
Yeah, it is, right? Or the fish out of the barrel. Yeah. So, I mean, it is not easy selling real estate there anymore. Homes are in high demand, right? Because of all the things you just talked about. Emory has had a huge growth throughout the community, and obviously with all the hospitals. Same thing for CHOA as well. So Children's Hospital of Atlanta. They just continue to grow. So we have a lot of people in the medical field that are wanting to be in the neighborhood and our surrounding neighborhoods. And then there's a pretty great trail system through the neighborhood too that is pretty attractive for people. So outside of the location, you do get some nice walkability throughout our neighborhood. And most of the homes are postmodern build ranches. They're relatively small, 1,200 to 1,400, 1,500 square foot homes. But it's always fun being invited to other people's homes because a lot of additions have been put on them these days. There's obviously people going in and renovating these homes and making them their own, and really good lots too. So really good lot sizes, but it's a great place to live. Yeah.
So the original homes, for those of you that don't know, if you go from that 1920s and 30s to the post-war kind of 40s and 50s, the architectural distinction that, at least I would like to know your feedback on this, Adam. It seems to me like the architectural distinction is usually gabled roofs versus hipped roofs. Mm-hmm. And hipped roofs are all over Medlock Park.
That's right.
Like, it is definitely post-war construction.
Yeah. And I think material types changed a lot too, right? Like you're talking about 20s stick builds, 30s and 40s started incorporating brick builds, right? In the Tudors that we have around Atlanta. You see more of the 30s and 40s builds in neighborhoods like Morningside or Sylvan Hills. They're pretty known for their Tudors. And Druid Hills too, right? Mm-hmm. Which is bordering Medlock Park and Ponce de Leon Avenue, which we talked about. But definitely you see kind of a simple home, a simple, small, just traditional home that is kind of your traditional Georgia brick ranch. Definitely throughout, I would say, the U.S. too. Pretty standard build for the 50s.
When I think about Medlock Park and real estate, the first thing that comes to mind of the original construction is 3 beds, 1.5 baths, pass-through bedroom in the middle off the kitchen, that somebody figured out how to do something with. Mm-hmm. A lot of carports that have been converted. Mm-hmm. What else is kind of distinctive about the homes there and what people have done to them?
Yeah, I mean, so that is to a T the home that I bought, right? So we had the wood panel room that passes through that's technically the third bedroom, but has two doors, one through the hallway and one to the kitchen, right? That's pretty distinctive in a lot of these homes. I would say you see a lot of the carports actually still being carports in Medlock Park. I know a lot of neighborhoods traditionally will finish out the carport, make it into their primary suite. For whatever reason, Medlock has a tendency to keep the carport, but yet you see a lot of additions directly off that wood room. A lot of sunrooms. Our home came with a sunroom as well. And then a lot of people have put their own little flares on these. Some of these have basements, some of them don't. The ones with basements, most of them have washer dryer down in the basement. So you do have to travel down there. But they've made little, bedrooms down there and little additions off to make the primary suite and things like that.
And there are a lot of streams and creeks in Medlock Park.
Mm-hmm.
Does that frequently, like with the enhanced stream buffers and all of that, has that impacted Medlock Park in terms of what people can do? Do you see a lot of restrictions there, or is it big lot sizes and people are kind of renovating however they want to?
Well, yeah. So we don't have the widest lots, but a lot of our lots are a little bit deeper, especially Medlock Park shares a border with another neighborhood called Claremont Heights, and they're really one and the same. Claremont Heights, a portion of it is City of Decatur, and a portion of Medlock Park, if you get close enough to North Decatur, is even City of Decatur. But if you're on the North Decatur side of Desmond, which Desmond takes you through the neighborhood and is kind of a cut-through road over to Claremont, that will be half-acre lots. And the lots get a little bit smaller the closer you get to the park. And you'll notice, too, that it gets a little hilly as you get closer to the park. There are a few lots that really drop off. So, yeah, people tend to put additions on the back rather than expanding to the sides, I think, which is why the carports have kind of stayed, too, because parking would be very limited if you close that that carport in, which not that people don't close that carport in. They definitely do in a lot of situations, but you still see more carports than you would expect, I would say.
That's interesting. Why don't we talk a little bit about the history?
About some shelters?
Oh, yeah. When taking buyers to see homes in Medlock Park, it was always interesting to notice in the front or side yard if there were pipes sticking out of the ground that didn't go anywhere. They would stick up and turn over, and they just seemed odd, like they would hit you in the shin if you were walking through the yard. And after some, the internet wasn't really what it is today back then. And after some digging with local residents, I determined that those pipes were fallout shelters dug into the yard. And these properties were built and developed in the height of the Cold War, many of them. Most of them are closer to the park, so it seems like they're on that end of the neighborhood more. Do you see them on kind of the Willoughby, North Decatur side of things?
Well, now that I don't think you've ever described exactly what they look like.
It's a ventilation pipe.
Yeah,
and so I have never been in one, but I think if you crawled around in the crawl space, you might find a little tunnel out into the yard. And
so it's like a bomb shelter sort of thing for the Cold War.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't want to get blowed up.
So one of my favorite things about living in Medlock Park is got to be our trail system. I know you said you used to bike this trail system. Tell me a little bit about that.
It was commonplace in college era that anybody that mountain biked around the Decatur area would take advantage of the old DeKalb Waterworks area where there were trails, and it wasn't developed at that point by the county. They were just dirt trails, and maybe in the early 2000s they did the whole boardwalk because where Medlock Park athletic fields and everything are, that's all flood zone, and it's a great place for not to have houses, to have big open fields to do things in. But if it rains a lot, it gets really wet.
It does, yeah. So especially around those creeks in the back. And so there's the Three Creeks Trail, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's South Peach Creek Trail, which is the more popular one. That's the boardwalk one, and that one connects Medlock Park to Mason Mill Park, right?
So that's the South Fork of the Peachtree Creek.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep, exactly. And so it actually, like you said, you mentioned Decatur Waterworks, right? So Decatur Waterworks supplied city of Decatur with water from 1910 to about 1930. It was later abandoned, and now today is a canvas for local graffiti artists, right? And it's pretty cool because it's Burnt Creek Trail kind of takes you back through that, and that's just a little offshoot of South Peach Creek Trail. That is also the paved portion that kind of takes you over and next to where the waterworks used to be. But it takes you, and it's got these cool little stepping stones that you can cross the creek. So it's a total of 3.8 miles. It leads to North Druid Hills on one side. If you continue down and through and follow the trail system, it goes all the way back to Low Water Reservoir. And I run that route, and I start pretty much from my front door on Willoughby, and then I take a left and I head all the way through and come back out underneath and go down past Emory into Low Water Reservoir. It's not going to be the toughest run of your life because most of it's boardwalk. It's a great little bike spot too, but it's mostly people just getting out and hiking. My neighbor hikes it every single day. He hikes like the 3.8 miles of it every single day. Just that's how he gets his steps in. So it's a really great little gym back there.
And that's very unusual for in-town Atlanta neighborhoods to have something like that.
But it's a great place to live. We've enjoyed it very much. There's a lot of future developments there too. North DeKalb Mall being the big one.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of started and stopped a bunch of times, and I think there's a little bit of I don't know. It's almost like the concept of what's going to happen with North DeKalb Mall has been talked about for so long. I think people aren't believing the plans anymore.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost like the development concepts are like market worn, like a listing that comes on at too high of a price.
Yeah, sure. Well, do you think that it's similar to what happened over with Walmart off Scott Boulevard and North Decatur?
I think what happened with the Walmart there, and this may be controversial, but I think the reason the Walmart happened was because of money. Being somewhat of an economic determinist, I do think money makes the world go round to some extent. I think that Walmart and that retail space so close to the city of Decatur meant a lot of tax revenue, because I believe the city of Decatur now encompasses all that retail space, doesn't it?
They do. Yeah, that's within city of Decatur.
Right. So there was a big financial incentive, I think, for the city. But when you get toward North DeKalb Mall, it's unincorporated. Decatur can't really reach it. It's a mega kind of project because it's such a huge building. It was one of the typical in 1970s malls in America. And it had its 1980s, 90s decline, and then all kinds of interesting stores popped up that weren't the Gap and all the kind of traditional ones. And now you see North DeKalb Mall in lots of movies because it's a bunch of empty space, and they can film a shootout scene in a food court pretty cheap.
They don't have to rent this space probably at all, right?
But again, that is such a great location. It's right on Druid Hills Road. It's right on 78. It's right on 29. It's a really ideal location. So I'm surprised we haven't seen something fantastic happen there yet, but it's bound to.
Yeah. And so where we're at with that is now Edens is the developer that has now taken it over and has approved plans and are expected to have started demolition already. The renderings all look great, and they're planning on putting a lot of money and a lot of good local and national stores there. It's going to have some living, it's going to have some townhomes, some office, some actual retail. So it is it's named Lula Hills, which is what Frederick Olmsted originally named Druid Hills when he was designing it, so it's kind of a play on that name. Edens has done Toco Hills development, and so that has things like Spiller Park, a local coffee shop in it. It has then it has like a Publix. It also has a Kroger in it too. It has Pikes. It has a liquor store. It's got a Chipotle. It's got whatever that salad place is on the corner. And
that's an interesting development too. We might want to get into that on another episode because that was a 100-year land lease that renewed, I guess, 20 years ago or something. That's when
that's when it went down.
That's when the family got rich and the development really turned around.
Yeah. Well, so they've done that, and that's close by there, right? That's why I mentioned that, is because it's going to be a little bit different of a development than Toco Hills, right? Like Toco Hills was definitely just an older building like this. However, it seems like they're doing a lot more like green space and new construction development with the apartments and things like that.
Toco Hills does not have any residential inside it. It's all retail, but it sounds like the North DeKalb Lula Hills. Is that what's
Lula Hills?
Lula Hills will have more mixed use.
Yeah, exactly. And the cool thing is it does connect the trail system that we just talked about. So that is the master plan there, is to connect that. But I think it's more like on the Clyde Shepherd's Nature Preserve side of things. So I'll be interested to see how that kind of ties into everything. So they also did Merchants Walk over in East Cobb. They did Andrews.
This is Edens that did
Edens,
this.
yeah. They did Andrews Square, which is off East Andrews in Buckhead. Buckhead Marketplace, which is where that Whole Foods is, and North Face Shop in Buckhead. They did Moore's Mill. That's the new Publix over off Marietta Boulevard in Northwest. And then they did Park Place, which is actually a high-rise right at West Wesley and Peachtree. So they've obviously done a lot of projects, and it seems like they're familiar enough with the city to be able to pull something off. So pretty exciting to see what they're going to actually do.
So in terms of the future of Medlock Park, this development is going to be a kind of a change in lifestyle for the residents there to be able to access that.
Yeah, I mean, I think so, right? Like, I mean, I think you'll probably even, I don't know what retailers will go in there, but probably a grocery store of some sort. And they plan on keeping the AMC, the theater. That's the only tenant that's going to remain from North DeKalb Mall. So, but to me, I'm excited about it, right? Like, I want a Jenny's ice cream. I want to be able to go, we could walk to the square, but that's a far walk. We're driving to the square to get to places and go to dinner and find things to eat. Not that Medlock Park doesn't have fast food and things like that, or that, we've got the small little retail shop that's got like the po' boy shop in there. And then,
are you talking about where Melton's App and Tap is?
No, Melton's App and Tap is direct. That would be if you headed to the left on North Decatur. This is off of Claremont.
Okay.
Yeah. So, po' boy shop is one of our favorites. It's really good. And then, there's also Hero, which is like ramen and sushi and stuff like that, and Community Q barbecue. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what comes of it.
Well, Medlock Park is still a fantastic neighborhood. It looks like there's more development coming up.
The neighborhood's great. Obviously, if you have any questions about it, we know it really well. We've been there. We live there. So, yeah.
Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you joining ATL All Things Local. It's Mincy and Jeffy. We just covered Medlock Park. We didn't do a dad joke today, but we'll get one next week. Signing off. Thank you for listening.